Hello, my name is Phillip, and welcome to the Hyperion Source. Have you ever seen one of those commercials where they make a point of presenting someone as embarrassing or undesirable? They might look unhealthy or seem awkward or antisocial. But then one day they try this brand new line of body wash or something like that, and suddenly they become a success story, the life of the party with a confidence like they'd never known before. Now, obviously, the brand and the advertisers who made the commercial can play by whatever narrative rules they want to. They constructed this world where salvation comes in the form of body wash, and all you need to do is to buy their product in order to improve your life. But if we take a moment to think critically about this scenario, we can see an example of a logical fallacy, one that's usually called the post-hoc fallacy. More on that name in just a second. It's part of a group of similar fallacies that have to do with cause and effect. Basically, people often make mistakes about what actually causes something to happen. When we assign a false cause in the real world, beyond the realm of miracle cure body wash, it can lead people to make embarrassing mistakes. It can even lead to disaster with false conclusions about what's real and what isn't. But don't worry about getting tripped up by causal fallacies and embarrassing yourself, because I've got the facts and I won't let you down. Stick with me to the end of this video and you'll be able to spot a false cause coming from a mile away. So, thinking back to that commercial, we saw a person who might have been struggling with some self-improvement issues. Then they tried a product and were transformed into an attractive and likable person, the kind of person who has no shortage of friends and romantic partners. Now, the brand needs you to believe that the person became popular and successful after trying that body wash, that the body wash itself caused the surge in popularity. That's pretty silly, right? It makes no sense because things just don't work that way. If we take this scenario at face value, it's an example of the post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy. That's a lot of words, I know, but it's okay. Don't run away just yet. It's Latin and it roughly translates to after this, therefore because of this. Think about it like this. Event B occurs after event A. So event A must have totally caused event B. Or so you would say if you'd fallen for the post hoc fallacy. Just because one thing comes after another thing doesn't mean that the first thing caused the second thing. They don't automatically have a cause and effect relationship. They might in some cases, but we can't assume it. We can't assume that body wash caused your life to improve. Maybe you started using a new body wash around the same time that you started making a real effort to improve your own life. Maybe you also started working out at the same time. Maybe you read more books, improved your mind, took a public speaking class, and started a healthier diet. All of those things could be contributing factors to your improved life, but we can't make quick and lazy assumptions about causation. So, you could say post hoc relates to a linear sequence of events. One event comes after the other. But what about when two events happen at the same time, or the order is indistinguishable? Do people still make assumptions about one thing causing the other? They absolutely do. This is a slight variation of the post hoc fallacy called cum hoc ergo propter hoc. It's almost the same English meaning as before, but with one subtle difference. Instead of after, it means with this, therefore because of this. It's the assumption that if two things are connected, or if they happen at the same time, one must have caused the other. If two things interact with each other, if there's a certain correspondence or connection between the two, you can think of them as being correlated. There's a link there. But does this link automatically equal causation? No, it does not. Advertising is especially guilty of using false causation fallacies. Of course, advertisers aren't trying to make logically sound arguments. They're interested in using whatever tool they can to manipulate the way you think. So one thing they'll do is blur the distinction between correlation and causation and then weaponize it. Think of an ad for a perfume or cologne that has a popular celebrity endorsing it. Many people will see the wealth and influence that the celebrity enjoys and unconsciously associate having those things with the new fragrance. The implication is that the fragrance caused the celebrity superstardom and enviable life. And if it worked for them, the thinking goes, why can't it work for you too? When in reality, the fragrance has nothing to do with causing the celebrity's success. They were already successful before the perfume ad, and their success is their only reason for the link with the fragrance in the first place. There are other reasons for their glamorous life, though, like privilege and nepotism, for example. But many people don't think that far, and the advertisers laugh all the way to the bank. These false ideas about causation find their way into politics and media, too. You'll hear conservative politicians and pundits talking about how higher wages for workers is the direct cause of rising prices and ultimately inflation. Those two things, higher wages and rising prices, are correlated right now. There seems to be some kind of link there. Earnings have slowly increased for workers, while the cost of consumer goods has been skyrocketing, but higher wages haven't caused higher prices, despite what conservatives would have you believe. Corporations have raised the cost of goods and blamed it on having to pay their employees a higher wage. Because in order to keep prices the same and pay workers more, corporations would have to take a small cut to their massive profit margins, which they find unacceptable. Many of these corporations that complain about higher labor costs have reported record profits in the past year and given their CEO salary increases by as much as 500%. But on the surface, they can make it seem like there's a causal link between paying workers more and prices rising. Correlation does not equal causation. Knowing the difference between correlation and causation is a skill which will serve you well in life. As we've seen, there are many areas where assumptions are made about cause and effect. Some people will try and deceive you or prey upon your ignorance of what false causation is. But what if I told you that confusing correlation with causation affects even a theory of ontology, like materialism? Remember, ontology is the study of what's real. Materialists regard matter as that which is real, and they disregard mind. Mind and mental activity, to the materialist, are nothing but illusions which somehow arise from matter. Some materialists claim that mental activity is an epiphenomenon, or byproduct of matter. Why? Because mental states correspond with physical brain states. In other words, the mind and the brain are correlated. Again, there's a link there. The mind and the brain are connected. They interact. But the materialist jumps the gun and assumes mental states are caused by brain states. According to the paradigm of materialism, they must believe this because only physical things which can be perceived are real. But that's why materialism is inadequate. Something doesn't have to be material to be real. We can rationally know the existence of non-dimensional things, and your mind is one of those things. Choosing to ignore things that don't align with your belief system is the sign of an irrational faith. The non-physical mind exists outside of space and time and links to the physical brain, controlling your body and the holos. There's always an interaction taking place. There's always a correlation. But what have we learned? Correlation doesn't equal causation. The mind is not caused by the brain. It's a lazy assumption that only happens because materialists refuse to acknowledge things which aren't physical. The issue of the mind and brain interacting, and all the other examples we looked at, illustrate the importance of using reason when trying to figure out a cause and effect relationship between two things. We shouldn't be using our senses, emotions, or irrational religious beliefs. We can't perceive causation, but we can rationally determine it. Don't let yourself fall victim to lazy assumptions. Don't assign cause based on how things appear to be. Don't let people try and deceive you by confusing correlation with causation. And most of all, don't let someone make false claims about what's real and what isn't just because they refuse to look outside their irrational paradigm. Did you like this video? I hope it helped your mind increase its knowledge while your poor little brain did just as it was told. Hit like and subscribe to show your support, or drop some super thanks if you're into it. You can also join our channel for custom perks and emojis and get access to secret monthly live streams. Thanks for watching.